The Gith Zerai and the Gith Yankee both share a common ancestor. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to play that common ancestor? Well, today we're going to be going over the Primal Gith, a lost race rediscovered.
Welcome everyone, I'm Sean, this is Tony, and today we're going to be looking at the supplement called the Primal Gith, a lost race discovered.
Yeah, and we're actually quite lucky because we have Chris with us, the creator of this.
Yes.
With us today to actually go over everything, right?
Yep.
Okay, and there he is, look, up at the corner there.
Hi.
Say hi to the adoring fans, Chris. How are you today?
Hello, fans.
Well, Chris, I first thing I got to ask is thank you so much for taking your time to be with us here and creating this content. I got to ask, what kind of motivated you to create this initially? Because I know people that I've talked with and players that I have, Gith is never really kind of that first race that people go with. It's never on top of their like elf and halfling.
I think that's because it's a late release, though. I mean, honestly, when it came out for 5th edition, I was kind of excited about them, and then kind of went from there. But I mean, sorry, should let the man answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I ever since they were introduced as a playable race, they sort of immediately piqued my interest. I always thought they were kind of a cool, monstrous race, back all the way back since 1st edition. But actually getting these 5th edition rules now to play them. I immediately rolled one up and started thinking about them and how to play one and what their motivations would be for adventuring and all the rest of that. And so I just started thinking, the more I started thinking about them, the one thing I kept coming back to was like, the link between the Githzerai and the Githyanki. And there's all these little cryptic mentions all the time, here, there, and everywhere about this sort of this progenitor race that they both, sort of grew out of. And I started to think, wouldn't it be neat if there was some sort of twist that allowed this race, sort of to have been sort of put on ice, so to speak, outside of time and space for all these centuries as the two, their descendants drifted apart, and then that they somehow managed to reemerge into the multiverse. And that's sort of the sort of backstory and the lore that I came up with. And then I decided to, actually develop them as a playable race and come up with some different mechanics for using them and classes that they might be.
And you definitely were very prolific with it. I mean, 3 subclasses, customization options for warlocks, 9 psionic spells, 3 new backgrounds, 11 feats, 4 magic items, and 5 new monsters included with this one. It's actually a pretty hefty supplement.
Yeah, and we've done a couple of other videos about, talking about like how you can create a theme. And I like this because there's so much history and lore to what you've created with the Primal Gith. But it's great because I can even see, themed, even just one-shots or even a couple of like, short like runs where you can, go with the whole Primal Gith theme and, maybe even everyone can play like one of the new subclasses or things like that. So it's really, really cool to see this. Now we can actually go ahead and get into the actual new race.
Yeah, we should get into the traits of it. I'm quite curious to see how Primal Gith would interact with the other 2.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that would be something I'd be kind of interested in. But as far as the Primal Gith, you give him 2 charisma and 1 intelligence. Basic 2 to 1. Right, yep. Really cool there. Age, size, alignment, all kind of average in there with it. Pretty similar to their descendants. But now we get into the traits, like the mental fortitude, and that is resistance to psychic damage.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also get the, and I'm probably going to butcher this because we always do. This is the martial Cyril. Yeah, right? Chorl. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the homebrew crew unless we mispronounce a word.
Exactly.
That's fine. Yeah.
But this one's kind of cool because you gain proficiency with quarterstaffs and sickles. So that one's a little different. I like that. The next one is Primal Gith Psionic. So the Friends and Mage Hand cantrips. Which is and Friends is a particularly
see, and I'm curious about that. What is nobody ever picks Friends as a spell.
Right.
I'd like to know what your thinking is behind it. I love the idea that they get it. Is there a particular reason why you picked Friends as a spell there?
Well, I sort of see the Primal Gith, and this comes out in a lot of the different subclasses that I developed and background type things, is I see them as sort of these natural diplomats. They're very charismatic. They have a sort of innate knack for sort of bridging the gap between opposing forces. And so the Friends cantrip seemed like just a natural choice for a race that had that innate sort of ability.
Yeah, I think the reason why people kind of shy away from that is that the person knows that they were charmed by you at the end of it.
Right.
But
that's why it's a cantrip, right?
I guess if you think about it, if you're thinking in a diplomatic sense with it, if the ends justify the means at the end of it, they're not going to be upset with you.
That's
you know,
true.
it's like, okay, everything has worked out fine. So I guess we're okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then next thing again is a psionic blast, which I don't know how you can have Gith without some sort of psionic thing. So, Sean, do you want to read this one?
Yeah, so this one's a 15-foot
for
cone, and then the creatures in the cone has to make a wisdom or intelligence save. So if they do fail, they end up taking the 2d6 psychic damage, or half on a success. And then it does increase as you level up. So it's kind of similar. We were talking about how it was kind of similar to like a Dragonborn's fire breath or breath weapon.
Yeah, it's pretty balanced with that. It's nothing that's going to like overdo anything with it. It's pretty awesome. Now, I know it seems like we're rushing. There's a lot of content we want to go through and make sure people get it. You have 3 new classes in here, which are pretty amazing. You've got a monk, a sorcerer, and a ranger, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there a particular one you want to go over with it?
The monk is probably one of my other favorite ones, and I had a lot of fun developing for this. Was it's called the Way of the Planar Wind, and basically what it is it's a class that is common among the Gith, but it's also available to other characters. But there's a little prerequisite that I put in there that it's only restricted to psionically predisposed characters, which is something that I kind of put in with 1 or 2 of the other classes here too, which means basically you have to have 13 or higher in 2 of either the charisma, intelligence, or wisdom, and the third one has to at least be a 10. So you basically have a sort of an extraordinary mind and personality that allows you to embrace this class. And then basically what this class is it's a monk whose key sort of resonates with the sort of energy that permeates the various planes of existence, and this particular monk subclass is able to tap into some of those effects that flow from the different forces that characterize the various planes.
See, and that's an interesting trait with it too, because you don't really see most of the time, at least in campaigns that I've been in recently with it, you don't venture into planes that much. And to have some sort of back connection to that, it makes sense with the Gith as well. I mean, I really enjoy that quite a bit. Some of these things that they can spend their key on is pretty amazing too. I mean, just from the get-go with it, being able to cast freedom of movement by spending 3 key with it, and then I mean all the way up to the
17 for that time stop is pretty awesome too.
Yeah, I mean,
that's awesome.
It actually incorporates a lot of things, and it looks like every single thing that you have has some planar flavor to it, which is pretty awesome. Do you want to kind of go over the 17th level ability, the banishing palm? I
sure. So if you reach 17th level in this class, basically you gain the ability to push a creature into another plane. So if you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, which as a monk is one of your sort of characteristic things to do in any event, you can spend 3 key points to cast banishment on that creature without expending, a spell slot or requiring any components, because it's sort of you're doing this more or less psionically, or through channeling your key, which I always think of as sort of a form of psionics in a way. And you do need to maintain concentration on it as though you had cast the spell in a more traditional way. So but if the creature succeeds on its saving throw to avoid being banished, all is not lost, because you'll still deal 3d10 psychic damage to it. So it's kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah, so it's great.
I see. I don't mean to menialize this, but I see the whole Doctor Strange thing and pushing somebody out their body.
The Grandmaster vaporizes them out of the. Absolutely.
And I thought that was pretty awesome when I saw it. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. I really like that. And that's, I mean, every single class in this thing is jam packed with stuff. The Ranger is a very diplomatic Ranger, which is kind of interesting.
Right.
We talked a little bit about that too. Wow, I mean, we can't go over the whole thing in this
yeah,
chat.
We definitely want people to go out and get a copy of this. I just do want to ask Chris, because we do have a lot of people that want to make homebrew stuff, and we always get all these questions about how they do it and how they start. What would you say is kind of like your process when you're trying to formulate whatever it is you're creating, whether it's an item or a monster or whatever it is?
Well, I mean, it's, I think the foremost, it has to be something that you're inspired to do, because I think that's where you're going to get your creative juices flowing. But I think it's also important to try to make it be something that's going to be easily accessible to players, something that, obviously just a very sort of, from a nuts and bolts point of view, you have to make sure no one's already sort of done it, so you're not reinventing the wheel. I'm sure a lot of us have come up with an idea and then looked on DM's Guild and been like, oops, someone already did that. Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that we've even created with it, and I looked and I'm like, it's already
back to the drawing board.
But
right.
Yeah.
And then basically just, trying to present it in a format that is readable and easy to decipher. I'm a very visual person, so I know you mentioned like there were these tables and stuff in there. I always like tables rather than just having to read through blocks of text. So I think anytime you can present material in tables or similar formats, that's a great thing to do for these sorts of supplements. And then I just like to try to also come as close as I can with limited resources that I have to approximate the sort of aesthetic that you get from the Wizards of the Coast materials, using the different art packs that are out there or other public domain sources of art.
Right.
It's in the end, that's not really the substance of what you're doing, but it does kind of help draw the audience in and get them excited about what they're reading. So
absolutely. Now, if there's one thing that you would want to say to anybody who's trying to start doing something on their own, is there any quick words of advice that you would give any of these homebrewers out there? We know a lot of them. There's a lot of people that are following us
absolutely.
now. But anything that you would say? Look I'm putting them on the spot now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think really just I'm sounding like a Nike commercial, but basically just do it.
Fair.
if you're inspired to do something, or if there's something that you found yourself saying, I wish this existed, I want to be able to do this, I want this, or if it's something that you've already homebrewed for yourself or your players, if you're a DM. I mean, if you want to put it out there, just start tinkering with it. There are some great resources on there's some Facebook groups like the DM's Guild Creators Circle, where it's a closed group. So if you want to share some of your works in progress with other creators on there, they're willing, their people are super enthusiastic on there and willing to look over your work and give you feedback and pointers and help you develop it. So, there's kind of a good community out there that you shouldn't be hesitant to rely upon. I think it can be a big help to involve yourself in that as well.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to thank you for joining us with it, and you can actually get this on the DM's Guild.
Yes, it's available now.
What is it? What is the price on this one currently?
This one is $4.95.
See, good deal for $4.95.
Oh, it's a bang for the buck. Like, it really is.
If we're looking at 41 pages.
Yeah,
straight on
41 pages.
Yeah,
a lot of great stuff. So we do highly recommend to check it out if you have a chance. We will leave a link down below if you want to go ahead and pick up a copy yourself. And as always, we do our weekly streams on the MAW. That's going to be every other Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. So you may see homebrew creations such as this being play tested or tried out on our stream as well.
I want to throw that ooze in here, actually.
Yeah, that would be fun too.
I like that one. So remember, the best campaigns are always the ones that are homebrewed. So until next time, keep brewing.